Did you hear the news? Metro PCS is now Metro by T-Mobile. Now you get new plans with unlimited high-speed data all month long, all on the T-Mobile network. Check out the new Metro by T-Mobile today and discover the smarter way to get unlimited. Metro by T-Mobile. That's genius. During congestion, the fraction of customers using greater than 35 gigs per month may notice reduced speeds, and Metro customers may notice reduced speeds versus some T-Mobile customers. Video streams at 480p. Coverage not available in some areas. See store for details and terms and conditions.
Welcome to the Enhancement Talent Podcast.
Any man with two hands has a fighting chance.
You're only half the man that I am, and I have half the brain that you do.
What?
You are a sniveling little suck-up sellout full of suffering succotash, son.
What? I'm not ready for you. Give me a hell yeah.
We are back and better than ever. Welcome, everyone, to the Enhancement Talent Extra review of WWE Super Showdown 2018 from Melbourne, Australia. I am your host, Brock Fluker, and I am joined by Chris Kirby.
Not your host.
My co-host.
Oh, yeah, I can accept that.
So, Super Showdown 2018, man. Fun show all around, I thought.
Great show.
A lot of good matches that we're going to dive into, including the Undertaker and Triple H for the last time ever in the main event. We had a great Cruiserweight title match, some other good title matches with the Bar New Day, which kicked off the show. We'll get into that in just a second. Chris, overall thoughts on this show?
Overall impressed. I mean, we'll get into each match. There was a couple I wasn't happy with, but overall, I can't complain for sitting for 4 hours.
Yeah. So, the only complaint I really have is that there were a lot of matches that I feel like we could have cut 5 minutes off of.
Or not have it all.
Yeah. In one case, which we'll get to, but
well, in two cases, I think, but we'll get there.
Okay. But other than that, man, everyone on this show I thought gave it their best. Some really good match quality, and it kicked off with the Bar going up against the New Day for the SmackDown Tag Team titles,
and a plate of pancakes.
And I definitely wanted Cedric and Buddy Murphy to open the show, like I said last week. But New Day are always a good opening act that can sort of get the crowd going because they're always over. So this isn't a bad opening match either.
Good way to make sure the crowd's hyped for the rest of the night.
Surprisingly, the New Day go with Kofi and Xavier Woods as their two. They leave Big E on the outside, which is always surprising to me.
Well, if you think about it, go back to all the pay-per-views. It's Kofi and Woods more than Big E.
Yeah, they've been doing that a lot lately. So they started off quick with a lot of offense, which they normally do when it's Kofi and Xavier. They try to quicken the tempo of the match.
Oh, they quickened it all right.
Yeah. So Kofi hit a dive on both of Sheamus and Cesaro, but they caught him. Xavier tried to dive off the apron. Sheamus caught him and put both of them into the post, which led to them getting control of the match. Sheamus beautifully is going for the 10 beats to the chest that he does on the apron, and he gets to 4. And the whole crowd is into it. They're all counting along, and then he just stops. And then the whole crowd is like, oh, hey, boo.
Yeah.
I liked that. Good stuff from Sheamus.
He plays a good heel.
Yeah, good stuff. There was a really nice double team with Sheamus and Cesaro, when Sheamus just threw, I think it was Xavier. He launches into the air and Cesaro uppercuts him coming down. Mm-hmm. That was nice. And we got a Cesaro swing here, too.
You haven't seen that in a while.
Not in a while. And
didn't last very long.
He didn't do it as long as he could have. But it was still nice to see that. And,
but did he swing the opposite direction?
I think Graves made a comment about that.
He made a comment. I don't know what he said, but I'm trying to picture. I think he did swing a different direction this time.
I'm not sure. But he goes from that into the sharpshooter, which eventually Kofi would break up. Cesaro would later go for a roll-up with his feet on the ropes, but Kofi would knock them off for Xavier to kick out. And Kofi would hit Trouble in Paradise to Sheamus on the outside. Woods would tag in Kofi, and they debuted a new move here. I don't think I've seen this one
a couple
before.
new moves debuted tonight.
Yeah. Oh God.
You know what I'm talking about.
I already know. But Woods hits a backstabber in the corner after tagging Kofi, and he leaves Cesaro laying on his knees, and Kofi comes off the top rope and hits a double stomp to the chest.
Wouldn't it just be like the coup de grace?
Yeah, but it's on Xavier's
on the knees.
Yeah. It's a little bit different because the coup de grace, you kind of land horizontally on them, I guess, instead of vertically. And it's more to the stomach and not the chest, I think.
Still look cool and painful.
It looked great.
Love new moves.
Yeah, they got the win off of that to successfully defend the tag team titles.
Quick match, though, overall. It really was.
Yeah, went around 10 minutes. Not a bad opener. We talked last week, and I was thinking about when you said that, it's the same teams and all that, and it's not fresh.
Yeah.
But when I think about it, these two teams haven't faced each other in at least a year since they were on Raw. And I think the problem just is that it lacked story. I feel like if you could have put more than pancakes and pouring batter on Mr. Bootyworth, then we could have gotten a more tangible storyline that we could have built off of.
Maybe it's just, it seems every month they're doing a tag team tournament of some sort to find out who the number one contender is, and there's never any story between the number one contender and the champion.
Yeah, the funny thing is, though, is that they did the tournament, and Rusev Day won, and then after Rusev Day loses, the Bar are just announced for Super Showdown to have the tag team title match. Like, they didn't have to win a match or anything.
Yeah, I thought they did.
No, they lost the tournament, and then Rusev Day lost to New Day. And then the next week on SmackDown, they just announced that it would be New Day versus Cesaro and Sheamus.
Well, if that's the case, I want a shot.
Yeah.
And I want 10-year-old Nicholas, because at least I'll win.
I mean, he is undefeated.
Yeah, he's an undefeated tag champ.
So we'll go next. We had Charlotte Flair against Becky Lynch, with Becky defending her newly won SmackDown Women's title from last month's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Random note is that they played the video package after Becky and Charlotte were entering, which is different. Normally they play it before the entrances, but, whatever. Very pro-Becky crowd in Melbourne.
Very.
I felt like they kind of muted them during the entrance, though, because you couldn't really hear them during Becky's entrance, if you noticed that.
And music might have been a little loud, too.
Yeah, but I couldn't hear anything from the crowd.
I don't pay attention to the crowd during the entrances.
So this was shaping up to be an excellent match, I thought, because these two were working, I don't want to say they were working stiff with each other, but they definitely were very snug in this match, and they were laying everything in. There was no ghost punches or anything like that. They were laying into each other with every strike.
Yeah, I didn't see any botched moves or missed punches or kicks or a Jinder Mahal, Jeff Hardy moonsault.
Yeah, nothing like that. Becky would go on the offense early, pulling Charlotte to the outside. Charlotte was outside the ring, and Becky just pulls her arm to the outside, and Charlotte flips over and hits the outside.
Yeah.
Becky throws her into the post, and later Becky would do an arm bar, but not like her finish arm bar. So she was working on the arm of Charlotte. And Charlotte, after that, would break out and start attacking the leg of Lynch, both of them setting up for their finishing submissions, which is nice. Charlotte would try a moonsault. Becky would get the knees up. Becky would try a leg drop off the top, but Charlotte would move. And after that, Becky would try to up and leave this match.
Yeah. Which I never thought I'd see from her.
So Becky tries to leave this match. She takes her title around, but Charlotte comes out and stops her, throws her back in the ring. And the title is in the ring as this happens.
Right on the apron by the ropes.
And Charlotte eventually gets the figure 4 locked in, is able to bridge into the figure 8.
Kind of.
When Becky grabs the title and just whacks Charlotte in the knees with it until the ref calls for the bell.
Was it the knees or the stomach?
It was more like she was just flinging it around.
That could be too.
Like, she wasn't trying to actually hit her hard. She was just trying to get disqualified.
Yeah.
Which is what I took it as, but
which I was disappointed. Heel or not, that was disappointing for that match.
So, I said a couple weeks ago that I was actually defending WWE's booking of Becky Lynch, in that if they really didn't want us to cheer for her, they would find a way to make us not. And boy, did they.
For the most fans, yeah, I think they're gonna turn on Becky.
It's not even that they're gonna turn on her. She's just gonna be completely cooled off. WWE is an expert at cooling things off. Like, they're a freezer. Like, when something starts getting hot, when Rusev Day starts getting over, or Becky Lynch is the most over act in the company, we're going to do everything we can to cool that off.
Yeah. Stupid.
Yeah. All just to extend this feud longer, too.
Because Lord knows we don't have enough feuds to cover on the women's side.
So, that was unfortunate. I really hated that finish. I think it's not even in the character that Becky's been portraying to do that.
No.
Even if she is a heel, which she's not. But, well, in their eyes she is, but in no one else's.
Yeah.
But Becky was owning Charlotte to that point. I didn't like this at all. Very lame finish. And what was really shaping up to be probably one of their better matches together. Like I said, they did work very snug, which a lot of wrestlers say that when you work with someone that you're close with, it's easier to work that sort of style.
Yeah.
Because you can just apologize to each other beforehand.
Yeah. Yeah. But I was disappointed in it.
Very disappointing. I'm not going to try to stay on that too long. We're going to move on to Elias and Kevin Owens in the ring.
Versus Lashley.
No, Elias and Owens are in the ring
Oh,
first.
you're talking before the match.
Yeah, before the match starts. So, I have here in my notes, we'll see what Elias has for Cheap Heat tonight in Melbourne. And Elias made some sports references. I guess he was talking about soccer because I didn't know
it's football.
What any of them are. Nah, whatever.
Yeah, but come on now. He was playing Thunderstruck from ACDC.
Yeah. And are they from Australia too?
Yeah.
Okay, because the crowd loved that.
Yeah, that's why they were doing it. They're from Australia.
Yeah. It was a nice rendition.
I thought it was pretty good for just, guitar in a ring.
Yeah.
You knew what song it was. That's pretty good to me.
Mm-hmm. And Lashley eventually interrupts them.
Thank God.
I don't even think they actually spoke much.
Not really.
But we're told that Lio Rush couldn't make the trip over here.
He couldn't reach the height requirement.
So Lashley will only have John Cena to rely on.
Poor Lashley.
So Lashley points to the top, and out comes John Cena. And he has hair.
And a hell of a pop, too.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good reaction. They did the John Cena sucks.
Well, that's no matter
thing.
where, but if you didn't do it, it'd be a bad pop.
Yeah, that's true.
And especially when he hasn't been on TV in, 6 months?
Yeah. I mean, the last time he was even on a pay-per-view show was the
Greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that's really been it.
That's been about 6 months ago.
Yeah. So, Cena comes out with his new hair, which looks ridiculous.
Yeah, it does. I know it's for a movie, but I want to know what movie so I don't see it.
I don't know what to make of it. It just seems weird to see Cena with any sort of other haircuts.
Yeah.
So Cole points out here something that we've talked about before is how John Cena all the time and Roman Reigns now, when they're having feuds with someone, they'll end up teaming with them at some point.
Oh, yeah.
And Cole points out that during their title program in 2007, that Cena and Lashley teamed together against Randy Orton and Booker T.
Yep.
He said. And I remember the feud because it was Great American Bash. They had their title match and it was during Cena's long title reign. And he beat Lashley at that match. I think Lashley was only there maybe a little less than a year after that.
Yeah. He moved on to better things, though.
Yeah.
Better for him, anyway.
Yeah. All right, so early on in this match, Lashley starts off. He would start off for a long time.
Hold on, before we get started in the match. If you notice when Cena first walked out and looked in the camera, if you really look at his face, you can see he's slimmed down.
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously, you can see he actually bulked up a little bit and toned up.
Yeah.
But you get a noticeable difference in his face when he looked at the camera.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe his hair just makes him look
That could
difference.
be, too. The hair subtracts 10 pounds.
Yeah. So, Lashley starts off with Elias, and this was very unnoticeable, but Lashley goes for a leapfrog, but Elias doesn't duck down, so Lashley sort of just lands on the ground and knocks Elias down. So I don't know if Elias wasn't expecting it or what, but then they did the same spot right after that, and then Elias went under and Lashley did like a power slam or something.
Yes, and that power slam, if you look at it, was horrible looking.
Yeah.
I mean, it really could have hurt Elias the way he landed.
I do remember thinking it didn't look too good.
I mean, it looked kind of high on the back and neck.
Yeah.
And maybe on the side. It was bad. Stick to power moves.
Yeah. So, Lashley works pretty much this entire match.
Oh, he works the whole match.
And he starts off on offense for a while until Kevin Owens and Lashley eventually get the heat on him. And this felt like it went on forever.
Yeah, it did.
And this is one of those matches that could have easily had 5 minutes or more taken out of it to get what we had. As Lashley, it's like every tag team match we've ever seen. One guy gets worked over by the heels. Eventually, Lashley gets the hot tag to John Cena the first time he enters the match. And we'll count along here. Shoulder tackle. proto bomb thingy where he lifts him up and drops him down, whatever that move is.
Yeah.
It used to be his finisher in OVW. I can't remember what it's called. But that's 3.
Yep.
5 knuckle shuffle.
Yep.
Attitude adjustments.
Yep.
And just when I think the match is over, Cena crosses his hands.
Yeah.
And in a fist, and waits for Elias to get up. Then he punches him. Does like a running punch.
Well, if you look, it kind of looks like he just backhands the side of his neck or something.
There was some name for this, and
the sixth move of doom.
Yeah, as Michael Cole called it. But
I do not know the Mandarin name.
Corey Graves had some name for it, but apparently Cena debuted this at a live event in China sometime last year.
Well, that's because if people at home don't know, he's been training with Jackie Chan in China,
which Renee Young reminded us of several times.
And I didn't know
this match. Yeah. So that was the finish.
Yeah,
Cena gets the pin, and then he grabs a mic and he cuts a very house showish promo where he thanks everyone. He thanks the fans for allowing him to compete in their country.
Yeah, like they had a choice.
He says he doesn't know what the future holds, but he's very excited about the present and being here in Australia.
Now, I have my opinion on why we didn't see Cena in the match.
All right.
Just like with The Rock, and why he can't wrestle much is because of insurance with movies.
Right.
So I'm thinking Cena's filming or getting ready to film, and the company and insurance won't let him take, much bumps and get hurt.
Well, he didn't take one bump in this match.
But I'm thinking that's why it happened how it did.
So my main note on this match was, how much do you think John Cena got paid for this?
More millions than I'll ever think of in my life.
Because I guarantee you he was the highest paid performer in this match. And
except maybe Undertaker.
No, just in this match, I'm saying.
Oh, just the match.
Easily the highest paid performer in this match. And other than that, I'm sure the only people that might have gotten more are Undertaker and Triple H.
You can't count Triple H. He signs the checks.
Yeah, but he still has... Like, the way it is he has 2 separate contracts.
Yeah,
as a
performer and admin.
And, I'm sure his performer contract is very steep.
Well, last time I saw, he made about $3 million one year for his matches, and that was it. Which ain't bad, ain't much for
just his matches. Yeah,
yeah, just his matches.
When he's only having like a few a year,
like 4 or 5 a year at most.
That's really good.
But you'd think with his position, he'd pay himself more.
Yeah, I mean,
look what Brock.
I'm sure it's not entirely just on him,
no.
But I don't think anyone other than those 3. I'm sure those were the 3 highest paid guys.
Oh yeah,
and
easy.
And that has to have been the easiest check of Cena's life.
All he had to do was a couple moves and give a boring speech.
I guess he did have to at least travel to Australia, though.
Well, I mean, and I'm sure he had to enter the match to get paid, and I'm guessing that's why it took so long.
He does not get paid by the hour.
I was disappointed in making Lashley do all the work.
Yeah.
And taking all the bumps. I was disappointed.
Yeah, this match could have been like 10 minutes less, and I would have been fine with that. But
or it could have been 10 minutes longer and have more interaction between all 4 superstars. Now, before we get to the next match, did you watch the commercial?
I was just about to ask you about that.
So you probably know what I'm going to say.
So, this commercial, what's the company? Do you remember?
The Great Australia Taste 4 and 20 meat pie.
4 and 20 meat pie.
As soon as I saw that 4 and 20, the only thing I could think of it is in the U.S. what 420 means.
So it was like a pot meat pie?
Ooh. I can get baked and fed at the same time.
So this commercial, Naomi walks into a hotel room, and there's rose petals in a line on the ground. And she walks by 2 glasses of champagne. She follows the rose petals into the bedroom, and there's like a heart.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes into the bathroom, and there's her husband, Jimmy Uso?
I think it's Jimmy.
Who is in the bathtub with this meat pie, eating it, candles lit and all.
Yeah.
And the funniest part about this, though, is that in this commercial, Jimmy has no shame about this at all. He's just like, oh, hey, babe, I wasn't expecting you to come home.
Yeah.
And he's grinning like he wanted her to see him doing this.
I loved it. It was just a funny little spot.
I couldn't. This just was stunning to me.
But I think I'd like to see it more often, to where they promote like local stuff, like the 4 and 20 meat pie. They're in Australia.
Yeah.
Well, what if they promote like whoever's sponsoring the show, Snickers? Let the stars do a Snickers commercial just to air during wrestling.
Yeah.
You're still promoting, the sponsor, but you're doing it in a way that we would want to see it.
This was kind of like a commercial I remember them doing before. I don't know if you remember the Enzo KFC commercial.
No, I don't.
Well, he basically insinuated that he wanted to have sex with the chicken.
Oh my god!
Like he was telling Cass to leave so they could have their alone time.
For some reason, I'm not surprised.
I feel like that wouldn't age well if we watched it now, knowing what we know now about Enzo.
Yeah.
So we have the Iconics next.
Next, okay. What's after that?
And I predicted before this show that the Iconics would do their the typical babyface promo that eventually turns into a heel promo. But the Iconics cut a pure babyface promo, and it was weird.
It's still annoying. At least with Billy Kay's voice. If Billy Kay would just be the candy and, let Peyton do all the talking, it'd be okay.
So, they cut this babyface promo, and then they have the match, and they still work as heels.
Oh, was that a match?
It was kind of. I guess they're calling it that.
Oh.
And it's against Asuka and Naomi. And right away, as Asuka is dancing or something, Corey Graves says that he's not sure how this bodes for Asuka's career. And that he misses the old Asuka that would just kick people in the face.
Well, and that's what we got Brie for now.
And my immediate reaction was just, me too, bro.
Yeah, I'd rather see the old Asuka, not necessarily undefeated, but in your face, kick your ass.
Yeah.
Not, let's do a 7-second dance break.
It's so easy. Like, why would you take away what has made Asuka great to this point?
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Welcome to WWE.
So.
Yeah, the only note I have on this match is it's a typical match for hometown heroes.
Yeah.
Just a filler squash match.
Yeah, there was some stuff in between this. I don't know what the point of pairing Asuka and Naomi was. I guess just to have this match.
Well, it was because when Naomi was getting attacked, Asuka came out and helped.
Yeah. So,
really, that's it. That's the only reason.
I hope Asuka turns on Naomi and just annihilates her, and we can try to get Asuka back.
Could we team Peyton Royce and Asuka?
Peyton and Asuka?
Yeah. They could be the iconic goddess.
That's such WWE.
Yeah, I know.
Too. The Empress and the Glow. That was funny, too, because Michael Cole says as they're coming out, they call themselves the Empress and the Glow. And I was like, oh, they came up with that.
Yeah, no shit. Like they had a choice.
All right. So, the Iconics win.
Oh yeah, we should announce that.
I don't even remember how, but
a pinfall.
Yeah, they pinned Naomi, not Asuka, at least. And then after the match, they celebrate like baby faces. So I
honestly skipped the celebration.
So they started the match with the promo. They were baby faces. Then they worked the match and they were heels. And then they won and they were baby faces again.
Yeah.
Fun. Joe and AJ is the next match for the WWE Championship.
And my first note on this before the match even started.
Mm-hmm.
I'm expecting to see blood.
Yeah.
That was, when Joe was coming to the ring, I was writing.
Mm-hmm.
And, hey, I wasn't let down.
I always say that Samoa Joe, I think, maybe not the most, but one of the most of all time, where your entrance music fits you so perfectly. And that entrance and that badass walk to the ring, it just fits Joe so well.
It does.
Especially going into a big fight like this.
And there's only a handful of people you can say that about.
Yeah. I would say the most, the best is Stone Cold.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
As soon as that glass shattered, it was time. But, so AJ comes out next, and he doesn't do any of his poses. He doesn't do anything holding the title or anything. He just stops at the top of the ramp.
There's no top. It's flat.
Whatever. But he stops. He stares daggers into Samoa Joe. He drops his jacket. He drops his championship and just goes right after him.
Which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Instead of walking to the ring, waiting for the announcement, nope, just go whoop his ass.
One of my biggest pet peeves in matches like this is when you have that sort of personal feud and then you start off in a lockup.
Yeah. It's like, really? You're not going to do that?
Yeah, you got to go right after each other in a story like this.
I would have rather this been a false count anywhere match.
Yeah, they treated it like that at the beginning.
Yeah, and I really wish they would have. I think this was the match where it should have been.
Yeah. So AJ and Joe talk about snug earlier in the Becky and Charlotte match. This one definitely fit that bill.
Except a little snugger.
A little more on the stiff side.
Yeah.
Which, again, AJ and Joe have been around each other for
many years,
like the last 20 years almost, since they were
they know each other
in TNA together when the company first started.
Yeah, so they've got history working together. They know they've got chemistry.
Yeah, I'm sure this was another one. Apologize beforehand because you're gonna hit each other pretty good.
Yeah.
And right at the beginning, man, Joe chops the ever-living piss out of AJ Styles, and the sound it made, it sounded like a gunshot.
Yes.
And Joe kind of takes control of the early part after that and just beating on AJ. He hits a big clothesline that busts AJ's lip open.
Oh, when he turned him inside out.
Yep. There's your blood there.
Yep.
And they went a while before they actually used any weapons.
Which I was surprised. I figured in this match, AJ would have grabbed something.
Yeah. So Joe first brings in a chair, but Styles would dropkick the chair into Joe's face, and Styles would set up the chair with Joe in the corner and would run up on it, but Joe would catch him in a Uranage right onto the seat of the chair.
And I don't know, I tried watching it a few different times. He just did not hit that chair like he should have.
Yeah, it didn't bend the way that it...
And he started grabbing, his hip right after.
Yeah, I think it was more like he just, slid off of it.
Okay, just maybe a bad hit on it. But yeah, normally when they do that, the chairs are screwed after that. But This one wasn't.
Yep. So the crowd, as they typically do in these sort of matches, chants "We want tables."
Oh, of course.
And Joe is the one who eventually goes out and gets the table. And that was the biggest pop of this match.
Yeah.
Which, it should have been AJ that got the table for the pop.
But, Joe's the heel, so let him introduce the weapons.
So Joe would try a superplex through the table, but AJ counters out of it and does an electric chair through the table. And he landed awkwardly because Joe, instead of landing on his back through the table, he sort of goes like hip first through it.
Right on his leg.
Yeah, and he starts, he's clutching at his knee, and the ref is trying to talk to him. And you can audibly hear Joe through the camera. He says, "I heard something pop."
Yeah, I heard it pop. Yep.
Yeah. And I'm sure that was intentional, being that what we had later is that AJ would calmly back the referee away and just go right to work on that knee.
Which I enjoyed.
Yeah. No, this was when AJ really sunk in to get his revenge on Joe for everything he's done.
It was really good.
Yeah, so Styles would go for the calf crusher a lot throughout, but Joe would keep countering it somehow into the clutch, the coquina clutch.
He's got those big legs, it's hard to get it locked in.
So Styles escapes it a few times, and eventually he hits a 450, a springboard 450, and he lands on Samoa Joe's leg, which was another just good spot, and just keep going after the leg. And he would do a phenomenal forearm on the outside from over the barricade into the floor, get Joe back in the ring. And Joe, this time, as AJ sets up for the forearm in the ring, Joe ducks out of the way and locks in the coquina clutch. But in the same finish we saw at Hell in a Cell, AJ rolls through it for the pin, and Joe kicks out to force the break.
We didn't mention it, but the first chair shot that AJ got on Joe.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they laid them in.
The echo that thing caused, I cringed.
Yeah.
And it was just loud. It was a solid hit.
Yeah. And the clutch, Joe would get Styles in later. AJ would be trying to get out, but Joe releases the hold by spiking AJ onto his head, just throwing him over.
Yeah. There wasn't much more to this match.
And Styles would roll up Joe into the clutch, or into the calf crusher, after a roll-up that Joe kicks out of. And that would eventually get him the tap-out victory here.
A very quick tap-out victory.
Yeah, not too quick.
Not even 30 seconds.
Joe did struggle and try to get to the ropes, but he did tap out. And I don't really think it should have went much longer, being how much AJ worked on Joe's knee.
No, but I think they should have drug it out another 45 to 60 seconds in the calf crusher. Make it look like Joe might get out.
Yeah, they could have.
I mean, he's in that calf crusher 30 seconds, tries for the rope and taps out.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been against that at all.
I mean, you don't have to add much, just another minute.
Yeah. So, I loved this match. I'm sure a lot of people thought it was too slow or whatever, but these two really just told the good story that they had throughout this whole feud of AJ finally getting his revenge and getting the upper hand on Joe, and just having a more vicious side to him with how he attacked Joe's knee at the end.
It was nice to see something different. It was nice to see a story that's been building for weeks and weeks and weeks come to an end.
Yeah.
In a way
in a clean finish.
Yeah, in a clean finish. There's no controversy. Joe tapped out. No ifs, ands, or buts. So now, move on with the storyline.
We'll see what they have for Samoa Joe after this.
Ellsworth.
I feel like your answer is always Ellsworth.
Because I want to see Ellsworth again. I like Ellsworth. He's so funny.
So, Styles will move on to face the winner of Miz and Bryan, which we'll get to later.
Mm-hmm.
But Samoa Joe, I'm not sure what you do next with him after he failed this many times at the championship.
You have to move on or actually I'm not going to say get rid of him, but switch brands.
Move him to Raw, yeah.
Do a mini shakeup for a few people.
Yeah, I think we need that for a few people that have just gotten to the point where there's not much else they can really do.
They're just stale.
Yeah.
But I do have it as this was the best match of the night so far.
Yeah, to this point, it was the best match
now,
of the night.
I've got a few of those, but it's always up until that point.
Yeah.
Which I guess, every match could be the best so far.
Yeah. So we had the Riot Squad going up against the Bellas and Ronda Rousey. Up next.
Oh, yeah.
So Corey Graves pointed out that Ronda's first UFC loss and what really turned her career around was in Melbourne, Australia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I found that fascinating.
Yeah. I didn't catch that.
Yeah. So Nikki and Ronda argue over who's going to start the match.
Which doesn't make sense. Why would Rousey start the match? She's the headliner of this match.
Yeah. I don't know.
Good TV.
Just have friction.
Yeah.
So, Nikki starts off the match, and her and Brie work most of the match. They tag each other, do not tag Ronda.
Yeah, if you watch the Cena match in Lashley, then it went the same way with Rousey being Cena.
Yeah. Well, she did a little more at the end.
Yeah, she did more at the end.
So, early on, though, Ruby tags in Liv Morgan with Brie Bella in the ring. And Ruby just holds Brie down on her knees for Liv to hit a step-up enziguri right to the face of Brie. a nice little payback spots.
Now, I'm not sure when during this match, and you might have it on your notes, when Sarah Logan was supposed to tag in and didn't.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, you can see it when I think it's Brie is in the corner, and
okay.
Liv came out or was in the corner expecting a tag. And
I do remember
Sarah
that.
And Ruby look at each other, and then they look at the ref, and the ref has to make the hand motion and says, "Come on."
Yeah.
And then Logan tags in.
I do actually remember.
I'm like, okay, well, I've never seen it before. I'll make note. I'm sure it happens.
Yeah, I do remember that.
It didn't ruin the match, but it was something I observed because I noticed the weird stuff like that.
Yeah. So, this was another match that I would put on the list that could have been 5 minutes shorter.
Or not happened at all.
So this is your other one?
Yeah.
Okay. So, the Riot Squad isolates the Bellas for too long. They get the heat on them until eventually Ronda gets the hot tag. She tosses both Liv and Sarah around.
Like ragdolls, and Sarah's not a little girl.
No, she just throws them all around everywhere, every which way. And she puts on a double arm bar on Sarah and Liv Morgan.
Which I thought was awesome.
And taps them both out.
At the same time, I've never seen anything like it.
I never would have thought I'd see something like that.
Yeah, you wouldn't ever think, oh, well, let's just do a double armbar. I got to give props to Rousey. At least it seems like she's trying to learn new stuff.
Yeah.
And just, if anything, just to impress the crowd, but new stuff in general. Other than that, though, it really wasn't much of a match to me. I wish Ruby was in it more.
Yeah, that's true.
Liv and Sarah spent a lot of time in the match compared to Ruby. And Ruby's supposed to be their leader.
Yeah.
And Ruby's got the most talent on the team.
Yep.
So I was disappointed in that fact, but it was still, it was watchable.
Yeah. I mentioned last time we did this that I was hoping this match would really be a star-making performance for Ruby Riott to get a big win here and set her up as the next challenger for Ronda Rousey after Nikki Bella, of course.
You really think Ruby would have a chance against Rousey?
I mean, she doesn't have to beat her.
Oh, you just want to see it happen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It could be a really good match, I think.
It could be. Done right. If it's done right. If they do it like Alexa Bliss was with Rousey.
Well, I think Ruby can more credibly get more offense in than Bliss did.
Well, yeah, she's got more training.
Right. But
I can see it.
We will go to the Cruiserweight title match next. Cedric Alexander versus the hometown boy, Buddy Murphy.
Yeah, everybody that listens know I don't watch 205. But if you don't and you see this match, you will start watching it.
Yeah. So when I looked at this on Wikipedia because I was looking for the match times, I was surprised. This match barely went over 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it had 30 minutes worth of action.
It did, and my first note before the match started was I expect a fast-paced match, and
boy, wasn't.
They did not disappoint.
Yeah, so Buddy started off right away after he shunned the handshake from Cedric, hit a big knee for a near fall.
I thought that was going to be it.
Yeah. Then he does the dive over the top rope.
He was
on the outside. Some of the other spots I've written down here, I think it was Cedric did the Michinoku driver from the top rope.
Yes, I've actually got that written down.
That was a big spot there. The standing Spanish fly from Alexander, too.
That was gorgeous.
Always love that.
I've seen it off the top rope.
Yeah.
I've never seen it standing.
Yeah, that was really nice.
And I actually had rewound it and watched it about 5 different times just because it looked perfect.
Yeah. So Cedric hits the lumbar check on Murphy, which is Cedric's finish, and Murphy kicks out of that.
And Cedric looked shocked.
Yeah. Cedric sold that really well. Murphy would later hit another knee to Cedric as Cedric's coming off for a springboard, and Murphy does what I guess is his finish. It was like a pump handle driver.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you would call it, but it looked cool.
Yeah. And that gets him the win. And the new Cruiserweight champion, Buddy Murphy.
But he looks like he's over 205 pounds.
I'm sure in reality he probably is.
Maybe he's 204.999.
Well, they actually had the storyline before that he didn't make weight early on.
Well, I heard something, I think it was Graves, that said something about he lost some weight.
Yeah. So, great match there. Definitely one of my favorites of the night, if not my best match of the night. Big ovation for Buddy. This was a star-making performance for Murphy on the biggest stage he's ever performed on.
Yeah,
in front of 70,000 and everybody watching.
No.
Big match.
Oh, it was a great match. I'd like to see him actually get out of cruiserweights, though. I'd like to see him in more of a U.S. title shot.
Yeah, maybe eventually we'll get there.
I mean, he did great in 205. I just think he's got the look that he could do a lot more than just cruiserweights.
Yeah, he definitely could, and so could Cedric for that matter. I think Cedric could be a world champion someday.
I mean, look at Rey Mysterio when he was heavyweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, I'm going to WCW, I think.
Well, he was world champion in WWE, too.
Yeah, but I think when he was a champion in WCW, he was a lot smaller.
Okay.
So, but still, he was a cruiserweight then. But he was the heavyweight champion.
Yeah, they need to let them mix them
mix it up. Quit having all the
like you can have them
heavyweights.
You can still have them be a cruiserweight and compete against other people.
I mean, what do you think they did before the cruiserweights had their own division?
Yeah, they wrestled the same people
that's why
everyone else
did.
Did.
Mismatched matches like Rey Mysterio versus Big Show.
Yeah.
But that's what made wrestling fun to watch.
Yeah.
Now it's predictable. You hear that, WWE, fix it.
All right. So we go to the Dogs of War, I guess I'll call them now, against the Shield. And
not me, I stole your notes. They're BDD.
So, this was a pretty good match. I thought it went a little long, but...
yeah, they could have cut a few minutes out, but it was good.
They started off right away as the Shield enters through the crowd. They have some sort of, like, face mask on.
Yeah.
Which I thought looked really cool.
It suits them.
Yeah. And they surround the ring and start things off right away.
In typical Shield style.
Yep.
Chaotic, all before the bell.
Yep. Shield tries a triple power bomb on Strowman. Drew and Dolph would intervene. And eventually the match starts with Dolph throwing Rollins into the ring. And they worked on Rollins
a lot
for a long time. This is the part I really thought just could have we could have went without. At least make it a little shorter.
Oh, yeah.
So Rollins gets worked over throughout a lot of the match until eventually Rollins gets the tag into Dean. And Dean would come into the ring. And later we have the spot where Drew would duck Roman Superman punch, which inadvertently hit Dean Ambrose.
That was later on in the match.
Yeah. I didn't write anything down after.
Oh,
Dean got
okay. I'm
tagged
sorry.
in, so.
I'm sitting here waiting for you to get to my notes, so to cover where I'm at.
Yeah. The point was that Seth got worked over for so long. I just made a note when he finally tagged Dean.
Oh, okay.
But later, Roman was in the ring with Drew, and he inadvertently hits the Superman punch on Dean, furthering the friction between the Shield that has built up to this match.
And before that, though, you got to see Strowman fly off the top rope and miss.
Was that before this?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, Strowman does a super fly. Does not connect at all. And later on here, as Dean is still on the outside recovering from the Superman punch, eventually the Shield or the Dogs of War surround the ring, Shield style, and it's great imagery here because you see Ambrose getting up in the fourth corner, in the fourth side of the ring that they don't have covered, and he's crawling up on top of the apron, and you just see him look around, and like he's pondering what he should do, and all four of them get in the ring at the same time, but Dean goes straight after Strowman.
Yeah.
And drop kicks him out of the ring.
I was almost convinced he was gonna turn.
Yeah. They made it seem that way.
They are really pushing, how they're doing that and making it look good.
Yeah.
Making it believable.
Right. I definitely agree. So Dean for now is still aligned with them, and this is where things really started to pick up. I thought after this point in the match.
The double crossbody, was that before?
Yeah, I think that was earlier when, was it Rollins and Ziggler that did the double down?
I wrote Ambrose, but it couldn't be because Ambrose wasn't in the match.
It might have been when Dean got into the match.
Okay, it might have been.
After Seth was getting worked over.
It has to be one of the hardest hitting crossbodies I've seen probably ever.
Yeah, they did the nice double down there.
It was... And I had to take note because, you don't see it very often anymore.
Yeah. So, after Dean takes out Strowman to the outside, we get a triple powerbomb attempt on Drew McIntyre, but Braun Strowman just plows over everyone, including Drew McIntyre, and knocks everyone out.
Which was just cool. It was just like seeing a big bowling ball knock down the pins.
Yeah. So, we get Rollins and Reigns knocked to the outside, and Strowman steamrolls through both of them, running around the ring as he does.
Which is always fun to watch. I don't care who's getting hit. It's fun to watch him do it.
Yeah. So,
especially KO.
Dean kicks out of a zigzag in the ring from Dolph, and Strowman is yelling to throw Ambrose out of the ring.
And run him over.
And he throws him out of the ring, and Strowman digs his feet in and gets a running head start and is running towards Dean when at the very last second, Roman
Out of
Reigns...
nowhere!
Out of nowhere, actually, Roman is able to get up and spear Strowman through the barricade.
Which I didn't see coming. You know, a lot of times I can see the movement in the background.
Yeah.
I did not see it. He actually stayed down, so you couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
So props to Roman for that.
Yeah, you didn't see him come into the shot until the very last second.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a big guy, so, I mean, it's hard for him to stay that far down out of camera range.
Yep. So, after that, Ambrose gets back in the ring, and Drew and Ziggler go for the Claymore into the zigzag, but Seth comes in and super kicks Drew out of the ring, and because of that, Dolph, off the distraction, hits a super kick on Seth, and Dean would then hit Dirty Deeds on Dolph for the win. And what is so poetic about this is that the whole story going into this, and what Braun and Drew and Dolph were telling Dean going into this, is that Dean makes all the sacrifices, and he's the one who's had to sacrifice and help the Shield when they need it. And in this match, Roman sacrifices himself, spearing Braun through the barricade, and Seth sacrificed himself to protect Dean from getting hit from the Claymore into the zigzag to allow them get the win.
I don't know who made note of it, who commented, but somebody mentioned that all three members of the Shield sacrificed something tonight for the team.
Yeah, I thought that was really good storytelling in this match, going with everything going into it. That was a really good finish to this match. It started off slow with Rollins getting worked over, but man, when it got to the high point, it really delivered for me.
Yeah.
So up next, we have 2 matches left here, and there's about an hour left at the show at this point. So if you're watching live, it was like 8 a.m. Eastern time. So it's Miz entering the ring first, and he begins to cut a promo, and all he gets off is that earlier tonight, AJ Styles defeated Samoa Joe, and before he gets anything else out, Daniel Bryan's music interrupts him. And down come Daniel Bryan with the yes chant. 70,000 strong in this crowd, all yes chanting.
70,309, I believe.
So, I can basically go over this whole match
in one breath.
So, Miz would go for the ribs right away, which were taped up for this match as they were previously worked on. And Miz would attempt to, Bryan would attempt the running knee on Miz. Miz would get out of the way, and then Miz would hit the running knee on Bryan for a near fall. And quickly after that, Bryan gets the inside cradle on the Miz. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
This match went 2 minutes.
I feel there was a miscommunication somewhere, and either The Miz forgot to kick out, or Bryan forgot to let him up.
Yeah, the thing with that is with how long the Taker and Triple H match went, I think this was just what was supposed to happen. Maybe
with all the build up with this match of all the matches.
Yeah, and there were so many matches I said that could have just lost 5 minutes, and this one needed more.
It needed those 15, 20 minutes that the other matches could have done without.
But I think I get the reasoning for this is that
it's a setup.
They want to revisit Miz and Bryan, and they don't want to give everything away yet.
Well, you can have a good long feud, but you don't have to have 2-minute matches.
Yeah.
People paid money to go see this. I'd demand a refund after that match.
Well, I think everyone was just happy to see Bryan win.
Honestly, I don't care if he would have won or not. There just wasn't anything to it to really care.
Yeah, but we do have to look forward to Daniel Bryan against AJ Styles for the WWE Championship.
And I can't wait for that, because
it's going to be awesome.
That should be a hell of a match.
Even though it's going to be in Saudi Arabia.
I don't care. So now they keep going back to Saudi Arabia. We're going to have a Middle East title now.
Well, Braun Strowman won the greatest Royal Rumble title that they never used after that.
Yeah.
Not much else to say about this. We'll see where it goes.
Anywhere is better than where it is.
And also announced after that was that we'd have a rematch with Charlotte and Becky for the title on Tuesday.
Which I kind of saw coming. I thought it would be Evolution.
Yeah.
But because I don't see a title changing hands on TV.
Yeah, maybe they'll do another screwy finish.
Are they in Montreal?
All right, so we get to our main event.
The main event. The match of the night. In my book, the best match of the night.
Yep.
And maybe the year.
Yeah, it was definitely fun.
I'm a big fan of Taker fans, so anything he's in is match of the year for me.
And we get the video package recapping the last few weeks and all the promos leading up to this. And we get Triple H entering to the game, not the King of Kings, and Undertaker in his signature big match entrance. Always is good for me just to see that entrance.
I could watch. I even made a note about how I can never get enough of Taker's entrance.
Yep.
I could watch it for days.
Which is good because that's how long it takes him to get to the ring.
Yeah, I remember WrestleMania in that 80-foot walkway.
This was a really long ramp, too. So
yeah, it was.
It took him a while there. So we had the match start, and or actually before the match starts, JoJo is doing the introductions, and she says,
as of now,
this match is now no disqualification.
And Taker looks surprised.
Yeah, Taker kind of like rolls his eyes, and Triple H has the slightest smirk on his face.
Mm-hmm.
And, they put over on commentary, that's what being the COO gets him. And I can't remember who said it, but he talked about how Taker was saying that that Triple H's battles are now in a suit in a board meeting or whatever, and that's exactly what helped him here. So it's now a no DQ match with Kane and Shawn Michaels on the outside. We got cocky Triple H early, which I enjoyed. He as they go for strike exchanges.
Yeah.
Triple H puts his hands behind his back.
Oh yeah.
And then when him and Taker are on the corner, he just turns his back to Undertaker and just walks away from him.
Yeah, I did notice that for the first few minutes, it was a really slow match.
Yeah, they definitely started off slow.
The whole thing was slow, but slower than dirt in the first few minutes.
So Taker and Triple H would counter each other as Taker would go for his old school signature. Triple H would counter out and then attempt the same thing himself.
Did he even make it to the top rope or just to the middle?
No, I don't think so.
I think he just made it to the middle rope.
Yeah, Taker pulled him down, buried some strikes in on Triple H, and then eventually would get the old school. He's still able to walk that top rope.
And you got to give him credit because not a lot of people can do that.
Yeah, it's definitely harder than it looks, especially for him at this point.
Yeah, with his age and disabilities, I mean, good for him.
Yeah, so Taker would go for Snake Eyes, and Triple H would connect with the running knee as Taker was coming off for the boot.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first bump we see Taker take in this match. And it would be the first of many.
And I really thought it'd be the first of the last.
Yeah, surprisingly, Taker really gave us all he had here.
I honestly thought it was going to be another Cena match where Taker was in charge 100%, didn't take a bump.
Yeah. So Shawn Michaels was a pest to Taker throughout this match.
Oh my God. Yeah, let's get started on that.
Triple H would clothesline Taker to the outside after Michaels distracted Taker for a slight moment. Taker would land on his feet and tried to chokeslam Michaels before Triple H would intervene and get Taker back into the ring, send him into the post. And then Shawn is just overtly helping Triple H as he sets up the table for him on the outside.
Which is funny because why isn't the ref saying anything?
Well, it's a no disqualification match.
But if you look, every time Kane started to walk anywhere, the ref was on his ass. Yeah,
I do remember that, actually.
I mean, Kane couldn't fart without the ref saying something. But yet Michaels is over there setting up tables.
Well, it's not like the ref could have stopped Kane.
Well, no, but why say anything?
Yeah. I did note early that I'm not sure how much help Kane has been because he's just let all this happen.
I've got a note here somewhere that is pretty much the same thing. There's just no. He's on the ground the whole match.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he doesn't do anything. So, to me, I would have rather had a straight up clean fight, 1-on-1, no outside.
Yeah, but
being that Kane did not get involved like Michaels, and it wasn't an equal match, I think 1-on-1 would have been better.
But as we'll talk about later, this was to build to what's going to happen.
Yes. Yes, which of course, as I'm writing my notes, I did not know.
Yeah.
I write my notes as I watch.
Yeah. So, Shawn sets up the table on the outside. I think Taker gets in before they can do anything.
Yeah.
And they brawl into the crowd, Taker and Triple H do. And eventually, as Taker is punching him up and down and everywhere, he drags him back into the ringside area. Taker would grab a chair and would lay out Shawn as he tries to intervene again. Shawn did take some punishment from Taker throughout this match.
Well, after that first punch by Taker, Michaels stood back a little bit for a few.
Yeah, he didn't want to get involved after that.
But before that, though, that when they were fighting in the crowd, how often do you see that nowadays?
Not a lot.
Even at pay-per-views, you don't. And
yeah.
I really appreciated that because it gives the fans something to be interactive with.
Yeah.
And you totally missed the holy shit chant.
When was it?
Sometime after the fight in the crowd.
Oh, I think it was just when they first came into the crowd, really.
Okay. But you missed it, and it was the only one of the night. And yes, I keep track of that.
Okay. So, Shawn's selling of Triple H getting hit with the steel chair.
Oh my God, yes.
Throughout this match was very good.
But did you listen to those shots?
Yeah. And you could see the welts on Triple H's back.
Yeah.
Throughout and after the match.
If anybody says wrestling's fake, let me hit you in the back with a chair. Let me see what you think.
No, don't let you. Just let Undertaker.
Yeah, let the Undertaker. He'll knock you into next week.
Yeah, and Shawn is just wincing on the outside, just feeling the pain through his best friend.
Michaels really sells it good here.
Yeah.
But I did notice, though, while he's got Taker has the chair and walking around, he looks tired. And I don't mean, he had a match, he's tired. I mean, he just looks like he's about done for his career.
Well, I'm sure he didn't exactly look forward to traveling all the way to Australia.
Well, no.
Maybe there was some jet lag.
And that could be. But he was missing something that he normally has. A little pep in the step or something. But he just looked tired and winded. Maybe he forgot to do cardio for the last 3 years.
The last 8 years?
Something was off with him. And it could just be his age.
Yeah. So, Taker sets Triple H up on the table, but Shawn would stop him, and Shawn would eat a boot from Taker. And eventually after this, Triple H and Shawn take out Kane, and they set him up on the table, and Triple H jumps off and puts Kane through the table, taking out Kane, who hasn't even really done anything to this point, but now they don't have to worry about him at all.
Well, they didn't have to anyway. The ref won't let them move.
So,
did you mention that right hand from Taker to Michaels?
I think so.
Because it looked like it clocked him good.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he sold it, but he sold it good to where it looked real.
Yeah, Undertaker strikes always look good, and Shawn selling them.
And, it was enough to make me note it.
Yeah.
So that's something to me.
So, Taker would get Triple H in a choke slam, and then transition into a tombstone, which Triple H would kick out of. And Undertaker decides to punch the ref in the face because of this.
Oh, because he got the 2 count.
Yeah.
Now, this is going to be funny to me. I was watching this match and watching both Undertaker and Triple H trying to get up.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like I'm at a retirement home trying to watch 2 people that fell, just trying to get off the ground. I swear to God.
Yeah.
I mean, if you add some gray hair to Triple H, I mean, it'd be like a nursing home match.
Well, that will be their real last match ever. Is the
Last match ever. Who's dying first?
So there's no ref now, as Taker starts to brutalize Triple H with this chair, just whacking him over and over. And he folds the chair around Triple H's neck. And Shawn is like pleading with Undertaker to not do anything. And Shawn gets up on the apron, acts like he's going to get in, then he backs off. Then as soon as Taker turns his back, he runs in, tries to get the blind side, but Taker punches him in the face.
That's the right hand I just mentioned.
Yep. But the distraction allowed for Triple H to get the spine buster and then the pedigree. And I think by this point, a new referee had come out, and it was a near fall for Triple H.
Yeah, the second ref was out there.
So Triple H then would wrap the chair around Undertaker's neck.
And where was Michaels at?
Which Shawn was fine with, I was about to say.
Yeah. Where was Kane at? Why didn't Kane come in there and start pleading?
Because he was through the table.
I forgot. He was out there somewhere doing nothing.
So he has the chair wrapped around Taker's neck, and he goes up to the second rope and hits a knee drop onto the chair, or like onto the side of it. But that was supposed to be a devastating move, and you could hear Taker trying to like gasp for air.
Yeah.
Which was nice. He was selling it well.
But at the same time, I've seen that move before, and everybody else sells it to where it's broke their neck.
Yeah, that's true. So Triple H would go for the pin after this, but Kane would pull the referee out of the ring at 2.
Yes. That was a nice save, because it looked like Triple H was out after that chair shot.
Or Taker.
Or Taker, yeah. It looked like Taker was out after that chair shot from Triple H.
So now both referees are down. And Kane hands Undertaker a chair as Triple H on the other corner gets handed a sledgehammer from Michaels. And they're both sitting opposite corners from each other.
Just sitting there.
Trying to get up. Trying to muster enough energy to be able to finish
and this
the other
might be
off.
where I wrote down about the 2 old geezers trying to get off the floor.
Yeah. And they eventually pull themselves up, and Undertaker goes for the chair shot, but Triple H hits the sledgehammer into the chair, into Taker's face.
And it looked like it made contact.
He would go for the pin, but there was no ref to count it.
Yes.
And Taker would get the Hell's Gate submission on, and again, there's still no ref at the point of the submission, so even if Triple H did tap, there wouldn't have been anyone to count it.
But he didn't.
But he didn't, because he grabs the sledgehammer and he puts it up to the throat of Undertaker and just chokes him until Taker is forced to release the hold.
Yeah. Which was kind of cool, stalemate, just waste time until, the time's up.
So as they're on the ground trying to get up again, Taker goes for the sledgehammer, but Shawn picks it up and pulls it away until Kane intervenes. But Shawn hits a low blow on Kane.
Yeah.
And Taker would then throw Shawn out of the ring, and Taker would get the hammer as Triple H is getting up, and he looks at him and he just throws the hammer to the side.
Yeah.
And after that, we got an attempted pedigree by Triple H off that, countered into a chokeslam from The Undertaker. And he would go for the tombstone, but Shawn Michaels would come in and hit the super kick to Taker. And Taker didn't fall down. He stayed on his feet on the super kick.
Spun around.
Yep. And he would get Shawn up for a tombstone. But Triple H would take advantage and hit Undertaker with a sledgehammer to the head. which Taker's still not going down for.
Yeah.
Until Shawn hits the super kick again into the pedigree for the win for Triple H.
Now, great match. Best on the card, no doubt. At least in my book.
It definitely exceeded what I expected.
I was disappointed how Michaels was involved so much when Kane wasn't. It seemed more of like a handicap match than anything to me.
Yep.
And at their ages, and at this last time ever again, I'd like to see a more even match.
Yeah.
Not a 2-on-1.
Yeah, I guess the whole thing is that both of them have been so involved in the storyline that they wanted to have as much as they could between the three.
I mean, and I understand, but like with Kane, he can't do a lot. He's got a political career he's working on. I really didn't. I mean, I'm sure he don't want to get hurt.
Yeah.
But he could have done something besides lay on the ground.
Yeah. He definitely wasn't a big part of the match. Really, you could have done the same thing, just without Kane even being there, honestly.
Yeah, he might have. The only thing he did was save him that one pinfall at the end.
Yeah, definitely could have. But that'll set up to after this match where Kane is in the corner with Taker, and Shawn and Triple H are celebrating, embracing each other, hugging everything. And they go over to Taker and Kane, and Triple H offers a hand to the Undertaker.
First though, he took the sledgehammer. Almost looked like he was going to hit him.
Oh yeah, so Taker picks up the sledgehammer and he hands it to Triple H.
Oh, he handed it to him? I thought he took it.
Yeah. It looked like he just handed it to him, like some sort of show of respect.
Gotcha.
And they shake hands. Triple H helps Taker up, and all four of them embrace each other in the ring, hugs, and handshakes, raising all of their hands.
As a real fan, and I know you are as well, you've been watching a long time like me, I liked the sportsmanship. I liked how they got out of kayfabe for this.
Yeah, this felt like the fitting ending for this match.
It felt like the last time that we saw the last time.
Yeah. And I was convinced throughout this, once they showed the replays from the match, and it looked like we were getting ready to sign off.
Yeah, and like no time left.
And I was perfectly fine with that because it meant that we could finally put this to bed, and we got a satisfying ending.
Yeah.
But at the very last moment, Taker and Kane simultaneously take out Shawn and Triple H. Kane hits a punch on Shawn, and Taker hits a tombstone on Triple H. Shawn goes to the outside, and Taker would chokeslam him through the announce table.
Yeah, it sets it up for anybody following rumors that Taker and Kane versus Triple H and Michaels at Saudi Arabia.
Crown Jewel.
It sets it up to take place if we can get Michaels to agree, which after seeing this, I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure this is
I'm sure it's already agreed to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the match is already made now. I'm just disappointed because we've covered it. His retirement.
Yep. But we'll see what we have from Shawn when he inevitably comes back. I'm very hopeful that if he does come back, that this isn't the only match he'll have. Because if we're gonna get him, let's get a good run.
At least a year.
And he's supposedly gonna have another one-on-one match with the Undertaker, which is rumored for either Survivor Series or the Royal Rumble.
Could you imagine if Shawn Michaels beat the Undertaker?
Yeah. Now that Triple H has beat him, maybe Shawn gets his win.
Now, overall, what do you think? Letter grade?
I would have to give this. I'm gonna go A-.
Now, I'm taking into account, the short matches that I don't think should have even been there,
Yeah.
and the ones that ended way too soon. I'd have to actually give it an A- to an A.
Yeah.
Because the matches that took place that were great made up for the ones that were lacking.
Yeah, there were a lot of good ones. And even the ones that I felt like went too long, by the end, they still had me. So it still didn't take away too much.
I don't think I really felt any of them took too long. Now, Taker and Triple H was slow.
Yeah.
But they're part of the OTW, the Old Timers Wrestling. So, I mean, they have to take it slow. But it makes it for a better match for them because they're big heavyweights.
Yeah, that's the beauty of wrestling.
I mean, you're not going to have a...
It comes in different forms.
Yeah, you're not going to have a cruiserweight speed on a 75-year-old 6'4" Undertaker.
Yeah.
Or however old he is.
Yeah, you can't expect that. It's not fair.
I mean, we didn't even get his patented leg drop on the apron.
I didn't make a note of it, but there was the point in the match where Taker teased doing the dive to the outside.
Yes.
And he hits the ropes and he's running full speed. And thank God he gets cut off.
And then, Triple H throws the chair at his midsection. It looks like it caught his arm, like, on the elbow.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, we are literally going to see a man die.
Yeah. And
if Taker does this dive.
You can see him. He looks down at Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and he looks at the ring at the other side, and he looks down, and then he just starts running. I was like, oh, hell no.
I was just like, please, God, no. Don't. Like, that would be the equivalent to him jumping off the Empire State Building. Like, I'm just like, Taker, no, you have so much to live for.
Yeah.
Like, the dead man wouldn't have been a gimmick anymore.
No, it'd be realistic.
It would just be the reality of the situation.
But, I mean, the way they played it, because, I mean, even the audience thought it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Triple H just jumps in and throws the chair at him.
Yeah, it's great that it got that reaction out of me, because in the back of my mind, there's no way he's going to do this.
Yeah.
But in the front of my mind, I'm like, oh, God, please.
As the fan, you want it to happen.
You buy into it. Even if you know it's not going to happen.
You still want it to.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely a great ending to this. It definitely exceeded my expectations of this match. Taker, hats off, man. You gave it all. You really gave it all you had.
I mean, compared to the last time we saw Taker against Cena, this was a total 100% difference.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, he actually took a damn bump.
Several.
Yeah, well,
it took a lot, man.
He did, and I'm thinking maybe part of it has to be the surgery he had. Maybe now he's able to.
The hip replacement he had allegedly a while back.
And maybe that's why he's able to take more bumps now.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, maybe we'll get another couple years out of him. Because he's not going anywhere. He's not going to retire until the doctors say he can't wrestle.
It seems that way.
I mean, it's just the way it seems.
He just loves it too much. And
his legacy is astonishing.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he's wrestled for both promotions.
Mm-hmm.
They don't push that, though.
No.
They always mention he's been with WCW for 20-some plus years.
WWE.
Or WWE, but they never mention WCW.
Yeah. So
go do your history homework.
Well, he was only in there for a brief time, though, right?
Yeah. Mean Mark Calloway.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I think that's where he had the match before it would have been any good, when he had the match with Sting before they were Undertaker and Sting.
Yeah. But it doesn't mean anything because he wasn't the Undertaker.
Yeah. It wasn't the same.
No, that's as bad as, Kane coming out as Dr. Yankum.
Isaac Yankum, yeah.
You remember the dentist?
Kane had some really awful gimmicks to start with, because do you remember that he actually played fake Diesel?
Yes. Yes, that was... But you got to look at who else was that tall enough to do it. But that was good. I mean, he's had a lot of characters over the years, but you got to love him. He's done everything he's been told.
Yeah.
He's never gone anywhere.
He's the greatest utility player, I think, that there's ever been, because he's so versatile that he can be the monster heel. He can be babyface if you need him to. He's good at comedy.
He can do both in the same match.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He's the most versatile character that you could have, and I hope they use him a little bit more before he has to, put it up for being mayor.
But great show for Super Showdown. It lived up to the super name. But that is all we have time for. I have to go get ready to go to a wedding. So this probably isn't going to be out today as we recorded on Sunday. I might just start editing it during the wedding. I don't know. Is that disrespectful?
Are you getting married?
No.
Then it's not disrespectful.
Okay. So we'll try to have it out by Monday morning.
It's going to be tight.
So as always, man, we are on so many new platforms now.
Everything you can think of.
We're on Spreaker, Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and Stitcher Radio. All of the links for those beautiful things will be in the description. Give us a 5-star review on Stitcher and iTunes if you would be so kind.
And if you do, we'll give you a shout out on the air. As you can hear, nobody's been shouted out yet.
Yeah, I haven't even looked to see if there has been yet. I'll have to look into it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, if you did leave a 5-star review, we'll get you next week.
All right. Until then, we will
wrestle you later.